guys. Welcome back to my channel. It's Jamesia Capri, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I have a special guest today. His name is Jonathan Jerome Johnson. We call him Triple J. And he's just going to come on and kind of chat with me about his story and about his transformation. Now, Triple J is the heavyweight champion of the world because he cured his diabetes. And I really want you, as a listener, to hear his story, to hear about how he transformed his life, whatever advice he wants to give us. And I'm just going to bring him on right now and add him in. Hey, Triple J, how are you?
God, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You're so funny.
I can hear you that well. Did you hear me announce you like I was like one of the announcers?
Yeah, you can you hear me?
WW. Yeah, I can hear you. WWF.
Let me make sure. Yeah, you tried to do the whole WrestleMania type scenario and it was awesome. It was awesome.
It was amazing, right? It was good, right?
Yes, it was. I might have to get you to do a voice intro for me, We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about that later. That's gonna be
It's gonna
probably
it's gonna cost you.
okay. Blood,
So
sweat,
listen.
tears, organs, whatever.
Okay. You looking what's going on? You're looking all dewy, you're looking all fresh. You got a
Oh,
glow.
well, fresh
Oh, that I
barbershop,
know what that is. Huh?
the fresh barbershop haircut probably, and things like that. So
Okay. I heard that you just came off of a 72-hour fast, and that will give you a glow too.
yeah, that this is my second 72-hour fast that I did. It actually uh it actually is great. I'm loving the 72s. My keto coach actually introduced me to those fasts, man, and I did my first one. It was rough, man.
Oh, yeah, it would. Listen, I just got off of one too. I know actually you did yours and then I did mine and then you went back to yours and I was gonna try to do it since I'm going on a cruise or whatever on tomorrow, but I had too many engagements right before I know.
Right,
So
right.
it didn't really quite work out. But yeah, so that's amazing. I think that's what it is, that 72-hour glow.
Well, I don't know. No, I'm feeling amazing. I really am. I know that my body is healing itself. I do
Hmm.
know that. I can tell. Um, a lot of ways I can tell, and so right now, I'm in a place of really stepping up my fasting game to add with my eating, and
Hmm.
those two things combined are a game changer. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So tell us, I know you, right? But my viewers don't know you. So just kind of tell us tell us who you are and a little bit about your story, because what I have up here is the fact that you cured your diabetes. So I'm going to just give you free reign to talk about who you are and how you got on this transformation journey. So,
Okay. Well, earlier you gave out my social security number. How dare you give my full name to everyone? No, I'm just playing. But yes, Barbara Johnson's baby boy, Jonathan Jerome Johnson, right? So uh maybe I'll start there, maybe.
okay.
I kind of grew up like everybody else does, in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? We all eat however, you know what I'm saying, back then. I ate a lot of starches. As I grew up and got older, I continued on that process, eating a lot of different starches. And and I remember people always just tell me, "Hey, don't get two starches, get a vegetable in there." And, me, I'm like, no, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, the biscuit, or the cornbread, and the sweet tea, and the fried chicken. That's a lot.
Yep.
And that was a typical meal all the time.
Right.
Um, I didn't know how much of an effect that would have on me until later on in life. Basically, uh, uh, I ate like that even through my teenage years, even through the adult years. Got married as well, and was kind of eating like that, and having jobs where I was on the road a lot, eating through fast food, a lot, and that's typical, But I remember when I was married, I was eating at home and out on the roads. Crazy, all that kind of food. I was having all the good time, McDonald's and Chick Fil A, all of it. What I'm saying, having a good time.
Right.
But I remember when I went through my divorce, and I'm just sharing this just to kind of give you a backstory. I went through a divorce after 9 years of marriage, and it devastated me. And the reason why, it was the one thing I've always wanted as I was growing up, because I didn't have my father and mother together for the family unit. And so that was the one thing I swore when I was a little boy. I'm going to have that family, the picket fence, the house, the kids, the wife, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I had it, and then it crumbled. And so I went into a deep depression behind it. I really did. I started eating more and more, working third shift and just eating and going to bed, just depressed. Sleeping and eating is all I did.
Right.
And I remember I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in 2010.
Right.
And so I was in denial. I was like, type 2 diabetes?
Right.
I hear about other people that get that. I mean, really? Me?
Right.
You know,
Can
Jonathan?
I interject right here, Jonathan? So I just want to let the viewers know, and most of you do know because most of you might be medical personnel or whatever. Um, the difference between type 2 diabetes and type 1 is type 1 diabetes is not enough insulin. Type 2 diabetes is too much insulin. And one, you cannot control. Type 2, you're in control, and it's kind of self-limiting. It's something that we bring on ourselves. So that's why he's talking more so about diet and what he ate. And a lot of us don't know the difference between type 1 and type 2. And so that's the difference. And that's how your 72-hour fast and all of those types and kinds of things can be a great catalyst to curing diabetes. So I'll let you go on and finish.
No, good people, listen, you have to know the facts. Okay. So when you're watching this video, you're like, well, what's type 1? What's type 2? So, no, that's very important because I had too much. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of that, when we were talking about after I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, how I continued to eat,
Mhm.
and I'm over here with way too much sugar and processed foods in my diet. And so 2010, I was diagnosed. I went into denial about it, and I continued to eat what I wanted. So this went on for an 11-year span. So when I was going to the doctor and checking it, my A1C would run 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, above 14, and unreadable by some of the doctors. So it ran into that. And so, and not only that, but my blood sugar numbers. I mean, 200, 300, 400, even 500 at times. And I'll never forget, the doctors used to tell me, hey, you're going to have to do something about this, or you're going to have some major problems down the road. And it didn't even scare me because I was too involved with the depression. I was too, far gone in my mind and had given up on everything. And so we get to January 30th, 2021. It's a day I'll never forget in my life. I actually woke up on that Saturday morning and I was hurting. I felt the worst I have ever felt in my entire life. Um, I was laying in bed and I was just at the point of giving up. I was started, and the reason why I say January 30th, 2021, it was 30 days into January. And so in December of 2020, I had made all those resolutions like everybody else does, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be a better person, and I'm going to do right, and I'm going to eat right and exercise. I said all of that in December of 2020. But I'm laying in the bed January 30th, 2021. I ain't did any of the things that I said I was going to do. So I'm laying in bed. I'm defeated. I'm depressed. I'm like, man, what's the use? Man, I'm sorry, man. I ain't doing right. I am over here laying here and my diabetes beating me up. I feel so bad on the inside. And I was saying, my family gone, the relationship with my marriage is, got crumbled and my family got torn apart. And I was, you know, those negative thoughts were coming to me. Nobody loves me, nobody cares, all that good stuff that happens to us. I was so depressed and I was at the point of giving up. Actually, I probably gave up in that bed that day. And I'll never forget this. I heard a voice speak to me that morning and say, "Hey, how much longer you gonna lay there and kill yourself?" I heard it, you know, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I knew it was God, and I said, and I was scared because for some reason I felt fear for the first time in my life. Like if I didn't do something today, I wasn't gonna be around him much longer. So I got up and I prayed. I told God, I said, "Hey, I have to be honest with you. I have no discipline, no self control, no willpower. Um, I'm hurt from my divorce. I'm hurt. I'm depressed. I never recovered from the pain of the loss of my family. And now I'm on eating all these foods. I know they're not good for me, but I can't stop. I can't." And I told God this, and I said, "But for some reason today, I feel like if you help me, I believe I can do this." And so me and God made a deal right then. I was going to try, and He was going to help me. That same hour that this happened, He dropped a woman in my spirit named Marquita Bradford. She's a good friend of mine. Been knowing her for some years. I was her photographer. Yeah, I used to take pictures. Either snap, snap, snap. Triple J photography is what I called myself. And so I was doing that way back in the day, and I did pictures for her family for a long time. And so I'll never forget. I had remembered she was doing this thing called keto, and I was like, okay, well, let me check it out just to see. And so I called her up, and I was kind of scared to call her because a year before that, I actually heard about it then from her. But I had bought her book, and I looked at it, and I was like, "Man, where's my mashed potatoes, mac and cheese? Where my Twinkies? Where my Oreo cookies at? What in the world is in this book?" I said, "I don't know about this." So I put it in my desk at work and forgot about it. And so I said, "Man, she might not receive me. I done wasted her time and a year done passed by, ghosted her. She ain't gonna want to fool with me." But something made me text her anyway. So I texted her and I said, "Hey man, I'm really hurting and I really want to try. I really want to try this and see if it's gonna help me. Just see." And she said, "Sure, Triple J. When you want to start?" I said, "Well, today is Saturday. We'll start Monday." So I was like saying that, you know how we do. And she was like, "No, we starting today." I said, "Well, I can't start today. Your book is at work. It's in my locker. Can't get to it till Monday." And she said, "No, no, no, brother. No. I'm texting you two recipes that you're gonna make this weekend and get through the weekend." And I was like, "Oh my God." Okay. So she said, "Get up from that bed. I know you're in the bed. Get up." And so I got up and she said, "Let's go to the stove." And so I got, showered. I did shower. Easy, people, easy. So I showered, got dressed, and I went to the store. I went to the store called Aldi's for the first time ever. I never went to the store before because it was like a little weird store. So I never went. But I went to where she told me. I had my list. I went and I had my ingredients. And I went and got all the ingredients, and I'll never forget my first recipe. It was keto taco soup. And so I went home, I took a picture of it and sent it to her to show her I'm being intentional, man. I wasted your time before. I'm serious right now. Uh, Here, I went and got it. I was excited. And so I went home and started doing it. I was reading. I said, "Okay, look, this is that. Okay, yeah, okay." And I did all of that and I cooked it and my kitchen was smelling good. I was like, "Oh, all right." And then I said, "Wait a minute, though. You know how the healthy stuff is. It ain't gonna taste good." And so I tasted it, and it was amazing. So many flavors flowing through my taste buds. Just beautiful, beautiful things was happening. And so I said, "Hey, wait a minute here. And I called her. I said, hey, Marquita, wait a minute here. You sure this is healthy? It tastes too good to be healthy. And she said, Triple J, easy. It is great. It's keto, it's healthy. Don't worry about it. I said, girl, if I can keep eating like this, I can do this. I think I can do this. So I started my journey that day, and she gave me her last Clubhouse invite. Back then, it was only for iPhone, and it
Mhm.
was like invite only. So she gave me her last Clubhouse invite, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to give you this app. I need you to download it." I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, I got a lot of apps on my phone. Well, you need to delete something and make room for this app because you gonna need this app." I said, "Wow." And so I downloaded the app, and she said, "Join this group called Keto for the Soul." She said, "That's going to be a place of community
Mhm.
of people that are going through the same things that you are, that are going to have success stories, that are going to motivate you, inspire you, encourage you." And so I downloaded that app the same day and joined Keto for the Soul. So I actually started my journey that day. Now, to give you guys a little just run through and make it real quick, um, I was in those rooms and I didn't believe in any of this. I was doing it out of fear and scared, and I didn't know if any of this was going to work. I just did this to see if it was going to help me, with my diabetes, to treat it, to help manage it. And so I stayed on this journey for that first week. I'll never forget it. And what scared me was my blood sugars had dropped from 300 and 400 all the way to like 160.
Hey,
And
Triple J, let me ask you, when you say you stayed on this journey, can you explain that just a little bit? Like
okay,
what
so when I say
what was
that, when I say that, I had to go and have a plan. So what I did was I went back to the store after I got my book that Monday, and I went through and I started getting my recipes and everything like that, and I started cooking.
what is
That's
keto?
what is keto.
Mhm.
Keto, basically, for all of you that don't know, it's just really about reducing your carb intake, leaving the processed foods alone, the sugars alone, all those starches and things like that, and kind of reducing that, and eating proteins, moderate protein, healthy fats. In your vegetables, it's about that, eating those type things. And so when I started this, I started to do that. I started to have my protein, my vegetables, my healthy fats. And so I went through doing that, and I was just my blood sugar dropped, you know, and I was just like, wow.
What did it go from? From what to what?
My blood sugar used to run 400. It was at like 160. So I thought I was gonna die, right? Because the doctors told me
Yeah, that's what that's
prior
what we look, that's what we tell you.
a year prior to that, the doctors was like, when I asked them, I said, "Hey, what do y'all think about keto?" "Oh no, don't you do that as a diabetic?" And that was fine. But I was seeing some dramatic results my first week. Okay,
Mhm.
so I went that first week, and so I've never done this before. I had my glucose monitor, and I was checking myself because I was scared. Excuse me. I was scared, and I was like, "Man, I don't know, man. This don't look right," because I never really experienced a low number like that. So I started checking my blood sugar fasting when I woke up. 2 hours
Mhm.
after breakfast, 2 hours after lunch, 2 hours after dinner. I was doing it, and I was writing it down. I said, "Okay, okay, okay." Whew, scared, and so I did that, and it kept reducing.
Uh-huh.
And so I did this for a while. I went back to the doctor 2.5 months later. And so I went to that doctor's appointment. They checked my A1C. So previously, my A1C in December of 2020 was a 12. This time,
So you telling me you went from mac and cheese and mashed potatoes and cornbread and bread and sweets and Oreos, and you didn't backslide? You did it to the T until
no,
you
I really was desperate at the
okay.
time of this journey, beginning of
Okay.
this journey. I was desperate. And I really wanted to give it an effort because I had had years and patterns of giving up
Right.
Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and grapefruit diets and all these other things.
Right.
So I really wanted to give an effort and see if I could really make this work. So I was very strict,
Okay.
very strict. I drank a lot of water and I ate my protein, my vegetables, and healthy fats.
Okay.
That was it. I gave up drinks. I gave up ice cream. I gave up potato chips. I gave up a lot of things that I used to love. I gave it up just to see if this was going to work. And so when I went back to the doctor, my A1C went from a 12 to a 6.6.
Whoa. Okay. In a 2-month time?
Yes. It
Okay.
wasn't even 3 months yet. It was just 2.5 months.
So you telling me
It
you did
Yes, yes. But it was, yeah, I went from a 12 to a 6.6.
and you did all of this with just manipulating your food. No exercise?
I wasn't exercising at all. I was just eating. I was just trying to get meal prepping and eating down packed. That's all I cared about. I wasn't doing anything, no kind of exercise back then.
Okay. All right. So you went back. Number went from 12 to 6. Then what they say?
They were amazed because they said because I had years of bad numbers.
Yeah.
Excuse
Wow.
me. I had years of y'all excuse me, I had a little cough. Pollen season, y'all. Pollen, pollen. Easy, people, easy. So I'm not sick. It's pollen, easy, y'all. And so I had years and histories of those bad numbers and bad A1Cs. So they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm leaving the carbs and sugars alone, and I'm trying not to eat all that ice cream and cookies." And they were like, "Man, this is dramatic." They were like, "Well, we ain't gonna argue with you right now or fuss with you. Just keep doing what you're doing."
Mm-hmm.
And so we went another, and at that time, that was the first time ever that I stuck with something and it was working. And on that same date, I had got below 300 pounds for the first time in
Wow.
over a decade or two. And I was just so happy because I had always tried to get up under 300 pounds and couldn't do it. But I think when I went back to the doctor, then I was up under 300 pounds. So that was a plus. The A1C was a plus right then. And so I said, well, something's working. Let me keep on this. Let me just keep doing this for a minute just to keep seeing because I thought it was a hoax. I thought it's something wrong. All of this time, you mean to tell me food is helping me? And I was like, this can't be right. So I stayed on it a little bit longer. So I went another 2.5 months. I set the appointment on purpose. It was October 30th, 2021. And I was like 6 months, right, from the day I started.
Right.
So I got up, got my shower, got my good clothes on, had on my Steve Harvey linens, had on Stacey Adams, had on the good smelling cologne, not the cheap stuff that you get at the swap meet. We talking about the real cologne that you get at Dillard's. I put that on. I was smelling good, looking good, coming to the door, smiling. They was like, Mr. Johnson, we're glad to see you. You're so happy today. I said, I have nothing to frown about today. And as I went into the doctor's office and I was waiting in the waiting room, and they said, it'll be a little while, Mr. Johnson. I said, I have all the time in the world. So I'm a nut. You hear me? So I sat there and I was like, yeah, something's different about today for some reason. I can't put my finger on. But I felt good because I knew I had been doing the work. Now after the strictness of the 2.5 months, I did have my seesaw moments where I did try to go back and have something, this and that. It wasn't the same. I didn't get the same fulfillment out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I had the times where it was just like here and there, but my percentage of doing good was high and the percentage of doing bad was low. So I told myself, if I can keep that momentum going, I'm going to be okay because I kept looking at my blood sugar. And so when I went into there, they took my A1C and I was like, oh man, okay, let's see what happens. Hey, what is it? Well, Mr. Judge, you have to wait about 5 minutes. I said, oh, come on. I want to know. I want to know. I'm excited like kid on Christmas, unwrapping gifts. Come on, come on, come on. And so they went ahead and they gave me my A1C. And they were like, wait a minute, Mr. Johnson. They looked at the machine. They said, do you know what your A1C is today? I said, it better be good. I've been working hard. Y'all scare me. And they said, no, Mr. Johnson. They were like, we want you to know that your A1C today is 5.5. And I said, well, what does that mean? Because remember, I was in a deep, dark depression. I didn't learn about diabetes. I didn't want to know anything about it. So I had no idea about numbers and what they meant. I didn't learn any of that. So I'm sitting in there, well, what's a 5.5 mean? And say, well, Mr. Johnson, we don't want to say the word cure in the doctor's office, but what we will tell you is that you put your type 2 diabetes in remission. I said, huh? And they were like, yeah, you're not in the pre-diabetic range anymore or the diabetic range anymore. And I was like, really? And I was in the matrix. I was like, wait a minute, huh? And I sat there because it was a moment and I was like, are you kidding me? And for the first time, I had validation for myself that I could do anything, that if I really put my mind to it, that I can turn some things around. And so it was a moment that was very emotional for me because I had to do a lot of work, even on the mental side, to make this go. And I had so much help from so many people, you know, even help from how you do it right there. you know, you know, I had some help from, so I have had help from so many people.
Yeah.
When I give my acceptance speech for my Oscar, I will thank everyone in the Oscar speech. It's a lot of people.
Right. And you know what it does? It takes, that's what it really does. People kind of underestimate the power of accountability and support. And
Can
really,
I say this? Can I say this part? Because you just hit it. There is no way, and Triple J means no way, that I could have had this success without my community, without my friends and family that supported me, that pushed me, that believed in me. Listen, I had to borrow everyone else's belief because when I first started this, I didn't believe in any of it and I didn't know what was going to happen.
right.
But when I first got that first A1C, I started to believe in myself that day because it unlocked something in me. And I was transformed that day, seeing that 6.6. I was transformed in my mind and my heart. And it was like a train starting up. And as it started going down the tracks, it was like going full steam ahead. And people kept putting logs in the fire, logs in the fire, logs in the fire. And I began to have the mentality of being a champion. And the reason I came up with that mentality, the championship mindset is what I call it, is because I put this whole journey in comparison to a wrestling match, a never ending wrestling match, because I had to wrestle the person in the mirror. I had to go do some major work in the mirror. First of all, I went to the mirror because I didn't like going to the mirror and seeing the image of myself because it reminded me of all of the past and the things that I wasn't successful in, all my failures. So I didn't like looking in the mirror. I didn't like taking pictures and selfies and all this stuff. But I was able to go to the mirror and make peace with myself. I was able to go and say, hey, Jonathan, I forgive you for all the things that just didn't work out, the things that you're at fault for with marriage, relationships with your kids, wife, family members, whoever. I had to forgive myself, number one, and stop all of the shame and blame and guilt and all that stuff. I had to stop that first. So when I did that, I was able to start healing. And so as I began to heal, I was able to uh, start moving forward, if you will, because I started to heal me first. And as I began to go, I began to start really believing in myself. And so I always knew going back to the mirror was something I had to do. It was crazy. So I went to the mirror and I started having conversations with myself. And so I told myself, hey, Jonathan, you're worthy to be loved. You're worthy to be respected. You're an awesome person. You're going to get the life that you are supposed to have. I started talking to myself like this. Then I started to get a little outrageous. And I used to say things like, hey, Triple J, you handsome thing, you. Let's go out here and conquer and dominate the day because you're the heavyweight champion of the world. Let's go, baby. And I would go out the door and go to work. I started doing that every day. Every day. I have my lunch packed. I go to work. I'd eat my foods. People try to bring in Krispy Kreme donuts to throw me off, give me biscuits. All of a sudden, people want to feed me when I'm doing right. I had to fight that stuff, man. All of a sudden, people are thinking about me. I have this Popeye's chicken, and I thought about you. You really thought about me now? Okay. No, thank you. No, thank you to the Krispy Kreme donuts. No, thank you to the pizza party. All of that stuff. So the people on my job watched me transform, man. Here and then here, they watched it. And so as I continued on my journey, I lost weight. That was a side effect to all this because that wasn't even a thing. And what's crazy is today, I went back to the doctor. No lie. I went back to the doctor today. And man, if I could just pull up, I'm just going just so I can see, so I can make sure I tell you guys right, because this was amazing today. So got my phone right there and I'm looking because I wrote these numbers down. I was tripping. I went from my heaviest being 360 pounds. Today, the heavyweight champion of the world weighs in at 270 pounds. Yes, you can't beat that. Wait, there's more. So my blood pressure went from being 146 over 92, my last doctor's visit, to 138 over 88. And I was like, I said, okay,
Okay.
blood pressure getting there. Okay, okay. I was getting happy. I was like, yeah. So then the A1C, right? Took my A1C again.
Mhm.
Let me tell you something, good people, before I reveal this number. If you believe in yourself, all things are possible. I must tell you this now. All things are possible. I went from a 5.5 to a 5.2. And so my doctor come in. Doctors are great. They're doing their job. You doing wrong, they need to give you a whooping. They need to tell you the things that you're supposed to do. They need to help you. That's what doctors do. But this doctor today, my doctor, Dr. Rober, she said, Triple J. Well, she didn't say Triple J. She said, Jonathan, Barbara Johnson's baby boy. She said, Jonathan, I'm so proud of you. A 5.2? She said, you are not playing. And she was looking at my chart, looking at my history. She said, you're not playing with this. I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. I want to live. I want to stay around here a long time. I want to make you proud, doc, because I remember when you were telling me about putting me on insulin because I wouldn't do right. Well, look at me now, baby. And so she was like, I'm so proud of you. She said, we're looking at some different things. You're correcting so much in your life, and we're going to see in about another 6 months. We just want to keep checking on you. She said, as long as you keep doing what you're doing with your food, you don't have to worry about medicine. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, but you got to keep doing it now. If you slip back, I'm coming for you. I said, yes, ma'am. And so I said all of that to say this about these numbers right here is because if you just take it one day at a time, be intentional about what you're doing, be accountable to yourself. Be accountable to yourself. Now, be accountable to yourself. Embrace community. Embrace community. Embrace the help that you can get. If you can put those things together, have some discipline, some consistency, you can achieve anything. Along with the fasting, because the fasting was a big part of it too. I incorporated that after my second month of doing keto. That fasting is leather. You pull that
Mhm.
leather. Oh,
Mhm.
you talk about. Listen, when I did that in my second month, people was telling me, "Hey, Triple J, you need to go look at yourself." I said, "What you talking about? Your clothes." I said, "What you talking about? My clothes are good. I wash them, downy and tied. What you talking about?" No, Triple J. Have you looked in the mirror lately? Yeah. No. Go look in the mirror full body. Because the mirror I have at the house is just, right here, a little square like we had got right here. They say, go look in the mirror at work. I went to work. I looked in the bathroom. I said, holy smokes. My clothes, I had shrunk in my clothes. And I didn't even realize it. And that was when I incorporated fasting. It was like I was eating,
It's a game
fasting.
changer.
It is, man. And so I did a lot of 16/8s, a lot of 24s. Now I'm here doing 72s. It's great. I feel amazing when I do a 72-hour fast. Um, I'm very careful when I do it though. I'm watching all my numbers and being careful, drinking lots of water and electrolytes, keeping them electrolytes in your system. You know what I'm saying? You must do that. So it's been an amazing journey, Doc. Today is a great day because of these numbers. And that's the story of the heavyweight champion of the world.
That is awesome. Man, I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad for you. Um, so I did want to ask you a question, and Virgo Bliss, she wanted to know that she has a teen who's 14 and they have high blood pressure and pre-diabetes. Would keto be something that they could do? And from my perspective, and I'm not here to give medical advice, which I'm not going to do that because I'm not your provider. But at the age of 14, if your teen is overweight, pre-diabetic, then they're in human range to say, diet is an appropriate thing because you don't want them to get on medication. And you don't have to do keto every single day, but I would consider trying that out. I would also consider a couple of days of intermittent fasting, which is what I do with my clients, my patients, intermittent fasting. Look into that. I've got tons of videos on my intermittent fasting journey, and also a couple on some of the people that I'm working with. As a matter of fact, Triple J is in one of my programs, which is the Intermittent Fasting Jumpstart program. So if as a mom or dad, I'm not sure which one, want to do something for your teen, then a healthy whole food diet is the way to go. So what are
And
your thoughts, Triple J?
I'll add to that because everybody gets freaked out when you say keto. They do, just how it is. But they cannot deny the words whole foods. You can't deny that. No. This was my philosophy in my brain when I was doing this. Carbs and sugar make my sugar go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I reduce that on a consistent basis, then that's going to lower my blood sugar and eventually my A1C. That's all I kept thinking about. Right. And it was proven by me checking my blood glucose meter as I began to eat whole foods, protein, and cooking at the house. You don't know what these people are doing out, in these restaurants. I'm just gonna tell you. But cooking at the house helped me. Meal prepping, healthy meals like your chickens and your fish, beefs, and cooking them the right way, and cooking them in some good, clean oils, butter. You know what I'm saying? Healthy fats, vegetables. Even those type things will help, and you monitor it. You can try it, and even if you want to say the word keto, you can try it and see what it does for you. Everybody's body is different. Now, I will say this now. So it can help. And what you have to do is monitor it. That's what I did. I monitored it, I wrote it down, and I could see the results. So any lifestyle that you choose, you have to do the data along with whatever you choose. But it is something that I do endorse to try. And if it doesn't work for you, then you can try something else. But I know it helped me lower my blood sugar and A1C.
Right. Right.
And fasting that she said, am I pointing the right way? That way. And the fasting. Thanks a lot. And the fasting.
Yes. And for those of you who are listening to this on the replays, again, we're not telling you what to do. We're telling you what we do, what has worked for us. Just consult with your primary care often they don't buy into it. And sometimes you have to take your own health into your own hands. But just know that it's eating whole foods.
Yeah. Let's just
Yeah.
take labels off of stuff for a minute because that's what the problem is now with everybody. We label everything. Eat whole foods. Leave the Oreos alone. That's pretty basic right there. Leave all this sugar, processed foods, all this stuff. You lay off of that, I guarantee you will see a difference. That's the truth.
Okay, and so she says, "Thank you. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I wanted to start him on 24-hour fast. I've done a couple of 7-day. I just was nervous about having him do a 24-hour, and it does something dramatic. No, no, I think you would be pretty safe right there. But again, I'm not his provider. But what happens is this, and he's 14, so maybe we shouldn't start off with 24 hours, right? Maybe we shouldn't just out the gate with 24 hours. Maybe we can go with something like, okay, we can start his eating for the day at maybe 10 in the morning. I don't know. Maybe try it at summertime when he's not going to school, 10 o'clock, cut him off at 5. No more food, no, just only whole foods, 10 o'clock, 5, and do that for the week and see how he does. And I don't know if you're monitoring his blood sugar, if dad has a blood sugar machine, you have one, whatever, but that would be something to do. Now, the fact that he is 14, sometimes type 1 diabetes does not show up until later in life. So that is something that we have to consider. So you definitely want to make sure that you're considering that. So, okay. Okay, so we're coming to an end. We're coming to a close. What advice would you give to the listener before we close out? Any type of advice that you want to give? And for me, I'm going to leave it at I believe that mindset has a lot to do with anything you're trying to do, anything you want to sustain, and accountability. So those are my two. What do you have, Mr. Triple J, before we close it on out for the day?
Let's see. What can Triple J say that hasn't already been said by Dr. J? I'll say this. I'll try. When you are at rock bottom and you really, really are at rock bottom and you're desperate for a change, you have a decision to make. Either stay in the valley or start climbing out of the valley. And that can be done by you making a decision to change. And once you do that, whether you do it scared or do it with unbelief or just do it because you don't want to leave this earth early for the different things that we're doing to our body, then if you can do that and start climbing out that valley, you'll be at the foot of your mountain. And once you're at the foot of that mountain, now you can start climbing. And if you ever harness the power of belief in yourself, if you ever can harness the faith and belief in you, you'll be unstoppable. And it takes time for that. So what you have to do is get around people, communities that resonate with you. Get with people that are going to cheer you on, that are going to motivate you, and help you. Like Dr. J right here. I pointed in the right direction that time, y'all. And so when you get with people, now she's one of my closest friends, and she helped me with the mindset piece of it heavily because you have to change this to change everything else. That's a that's a that's a no brainer. That is the foundation to everything. Once you change this and change this, it's on. And so if you can ever start climbing that mountain, you're climbing, and you're believing in yourself, you will be unstoppable. And now you have to wait because time has to catch up with you. And once that happens, The results are coming. It's undeniable. I went from undesirable to undeniable, baby. I went from being low to being on high. I went from being a contender and a pretender to being the heavyweight champion of the world, baby, because I became a champion of myself over my entire life. And sometimes those voices do come talk to you sometimes and try to tell you, you're not going to do anything. You'll be back here. You're going to be back here with depression and despair and unbelief. You think you've done something because your diabetes is gone. You'll get it again. You'll be back over 300 pounds. Those are the voices that try to talk to me sometimes in the mirror. But you know what I do? I turn back to those voices and I say, how can you win when I've already won? And when you can harness the power of belief in yourself, can't nothing stop you. Nothing on this earth can stop you. So my challenge to you is to take the first steps of changing your entire life by making a decision to change. And that is from your reigning, defending, undisputed, keto eating, fire breathing, diabetic defeating heavyweight champion of the world, the unbreakable Triple J.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here, Triple J. We really, really enjoyed having you, and congratulations so very much. I'm so happy about your numbers. I'm happy that you're feeling good, looking good, and obviously smelling good because you told me you got the good Dillard's cologne on. But we are out of here today, and I thank you so much. So I'm just going to say bye to you for just a moment. Then I'm going to say bye to everybody. Thank you for being here. And I'm sure we're going to come back because we're doing some things together. And I kind of want them to see how successful things have been for you. So thank you again. So, hey guys, thank you so much for being here. I am Dr. Jamisia Capri, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.